Funding for this program is provided in part by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund and the citizens of Minnesota.
Welcome to On Cue. Coming up on today's show, we learn about a new program Austin High School is offering to show their students how to succeed in business. We introduce our new Austin Voices segment and get the history on the Hubbard House in Mankato. Stick around, On Cue is next.
From KSMQ Television in Austin, this is On Cue, connecting interesting issues and interesting people. On Cue.
So CEO is a unique learning opportunity for high school juniors and seniors where they learn about the real world and the real world of business by being in business.
It's basically a class where you can mingle and meet connections with other businesses throughout Austin, and gives you more of an insight on what they do for Austin, and more makes you be able to look further into what you want to do as a career.
This is a great way to find out different businesses and different parts of niches that you could be successful in. And so finding out, watching these different businesses, you can find out what you could be good at potentially.
The more that I learned about the program, and I actually even went on the internet and did some exploring and learned even more, it's amazing. It's just going to give kids a real life skills.
Thursday, when we did our full presentation, the level of excitement that I saw from students and heard from their teachers when they returned to their classrooms was incredibly encouraging. I know that our students are very excited about the program. We couldn't keep enough copies on hand on Thursday. Multiple times we had to go and make more copies of the application, which is great to see those flying off the stage and to hear the questions kids had for the visiting students really just showed me how excited our students are about this.
The community involvement is what makes the program special. If the community wasn't involved, it would be just a teacher in a classroom, which we've tried for the last 100 years, and we're not getting what we want. Obviously, the community provides the environment, which is very important. Just physically getting the kids out to see things is important. The other aspect that they give is industry knowledge. So they're the professionals doing their thing. They can speak directly to what the kids should be learning, what they should be working on, and why it's valuable.
I think to invest in this program is to invest in our youth, and I see that as a huge opportunity for this community. I think, giving students an opportunity to see some of the businesses and some of the things that go on in business and some of those opportunities. Do they really understand the opportunities that exist in our community? And I think that this will open up their eyes to some of those possibilities, and hopefully they'll think about coming back to this community when they get done, with their education.
Joining me in the studio today to tell us more about this exciting new program coming to Austin High School and Austin Pacelli, Principal Andrea Melo from Austin High School, and CEO Board Chair of the program, Tim Fritz from Hormel Foods. Welcome to you both.
Thanks.
So when I was in high school, I had no idea about the work world. I was a stock boy in a grocery store, but not in the decision-making realm, in the company making projects and getting things done. And that's what these students are going to have a chance to do, Tim.
Well, that's what we hope. At the end of the day, this class is about exposing high school students to real-life problem solving. And where the business community comes in is the business community acts as a resource. This class will meet at a place of business, and they'll be given projects to do, and they'll have to solve the problems that come out of that project by using the business community's resources. So if the class is working on something and they need to figure out funding, well, we might schedule a meeting for them to have with an accountant, for example. Then maybe they could ask the accountant some questions. But at the end of the day, they use the business community to solve their problems.
And Andrea, what's the reason that you see it as a real educational opportunity for your students?
Well, it's a great opportunity for our kids to really get some hands-on experience creating their own business. So often kids don't have that opportunity when they're in high school, and it's an opportunity for them to really take some safe risks in business You know, to have backers and community members that are willing to work with them and kind of really mentor them through the process, they're really going to learn a lot.
Is this a concern, Tim? You hire tons of people in your world at Hormel Foods, impressive person. Is there something you're not seeing in young employees that you're getting that you hope this program at least begins the dialogue to help train?
Well, yeah, I think so. I think that, you know, people, you know, I think people said it probably 30 years ago too, when I was in high school and college, but how many of us have ever said, geez, I wish the kids today had better life skills? And that's one of the goals of this program, is to teach kids life skills, again, by solving real problems. The other goal of this program is to expose the students to what's going on in the Austin community in Moore County. By doing so, we'd like to think that through that networking, that when those students go on to whatever they're going to do, whether it's a technical school, a college, whatever it's going to be, we'd like to think that maybe, just maybe, they would consider coming back to Austin and contributing to Austin.
And this is a regular class. We're going to try it the first time this coming year. Mm-hmm. Students go to the workplace, right?
Yeah, so our students, they will not meet at the high school, either one of our high schools. Instead, they'll have a home base at a business someplace in our community, probably changing 4 times throughout the year quarterly, and they will meet there a couple times a week. The rest of the time, they're out in the community visiting different businesses. And it's really kind of driven by our kids, like, what's in that building over there? Can we look and see what's happening? And, you know, our facilitator will pick up the phone and call that place and say, hey, we'd like to come for a visit.
And employers are coming out of their comfort zone really too, to step up and do this. There have been several contributions. You had some fundraising. Companies have stepped forward to try to become sponsors. And so that's really kind of a testament to the Austin folks, the business owners, who are willing to step out with the young people and learn a little bit from them too.
Absolutely. If the business community doesn't support this, it fails. And I'm happy to say, and I'm proud to say, that the business community in Austin has stepped up, you know, in a way that is really, you know, pleased me and surprised me. We've got almost 45 sponsors, and to be a sponsor, an investor, you have to commit to $1,000 a year for 3-year commitment. In addition, we've got business leaders in the community that are willing to be speakers, mentors, give tours, hosts, you name it, but we've really got the business community stepping up nicely.
And some of the outcomes, since it's real business, is you fail. Sometimes it doesn't work out, your project or your idea, and that's part of this also.
Well, sometimes we learn more from the mistakes we make than always getting it right. And so to have an opportunity for kids, and again, to take some of those safe risks and try something out, they might find something that they can take and carry on the rest of their life and have a business, or they might learn from it and say, wow, that's really not something that I'm interested in pursuing. Working with the Candy Ojai CEO program, they really talked about giving kids an opportunity to step into something and see what it's like, and mentioned that, you know, sometimes you learn more from the things that don't work out quite the way you want them to.
And talk about interest. You have been asking students to apply for this inaugural season, and you've had some good results.
We have, and actually we just finished the application process with our students, and we will have 20 students in our first CEO class starting next fall. So they had to go and get some recommendations from teachers and from business people in the community, had to write some personal statements, but they turned in their applications, and it was a really exciting process for them to go through.
So new products on the shelf coming in a year, right, Tim, at Hormel Foods, from these kids?
Yeah, we'll see. Time will tell. You know, again, what I just like to touch on what Andrea said. You know, these kids put a lot of time into this application. This is not an easy process. You know, we had a lot of interest, and we had to narrow it down. And the kids that got selected for this program should be proud, because they had to put a lot of work into those applications.
If community folks want to learn more about the CEO program, is there a link maybe on the school website or somewhere?
Well, very soon there will be. We're actually just in the process right now of building our CEO website, which is we get help from that from Effingham, Illinois, the CEO program that's there, Midland Institute, that's really behind this program. And so they're working with us to get our website up and running, and soon we'll have a link available on our school website to get there.
It's called Creating Entrepreneurial Opportunities, CEO program. Thank you both for your service in the community. I mean, getting this, like I said, getting out of your comfort zone and really helping the next generation. Got to teach them how to shake hands, how to wear a tie. You're going to tie ties for them and stuff?
I don't know about that, but again, they're going to learn a lot of life skills, and it's going to be interesting to see how these students go from maybe not having the best, eye contact and being able to shake hands to being able to do those kind of things.
Very important.
It's going to be exciting.
Thank you both very much, Tim Fritz and Andrea Malo.
Thank you.
More On Cue is straight ahead.
Queue up your own comments for On Cue and send them to us at onq@ksmq.org.
Hi, I'm Annie Krennick, the current intern at KSMQ Public Television. I'm a student at Minnesota State University Mankato, and I'm here with a new segment, Austin Voices. Our goal is to hear different perspectives from within the community of Austin, and I'm happy to have Chad Andersen with me today. Hi, Chad.
Hi, Ann. Hi, Ann.
So I heard that your birthday was last week on Sunday, yes? And what did you do for your birthday?
Went over to Rochester, ate at this amazing Chinese place.
This Chinese place, okay, that's awesome.
And that was in the Old Country Buffet.
The Old Country Buffet. So the Old Country Buffet in Rochester
It's turned into a Chinese place.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. Well, I'm a college student, so I can't get enough Chinese food.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Old Country Buffet in Mankato, where I'm from, they closed too. And it was kind of like sad, but they split it into like 3 different things, which I was like really confused about. I was like,
What did they make it?
There's one buffalo restaurant. Do you like buffalo wings?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yes, I do. I really like buffalo wings. I can't get enough of like the hot sauce. And I'm Minnesotan, so I like ranch. And the other 2, it was like a chiropractor and something else. I don't know. So you've lived here your entire life. And did you go to school here?
Yes, I did.
You did. That's exciting.
Graduated in '89 from high school.
In '89. That's it's longer than I've been alive.
Like 30 years ago.
So what do you do in Austin for fun?
Go to movies.
You go to movies. I'm a film major, so I could talk about movies all day. So what's your favorite movie out right now?
A Wrinkle in Time.
A Wrinkle in Time. And you liked it?
I loved it.
You loved it. When did you go see it?
Last Saturday.
Last Saturday. I saw it like the day that it came out. I was really excited to go see it.
It was packed with people.
Oh, it was, yeah. Well, I think we bought our tickets like an hour ahead of like the filming or the showing, because I was like, we need to make sure we get good spots.
I also want to go to Love, Simon.
Love, Simon. Oh, I actually just saw that like last week.
Like it?
It's really good, yeah.
Don't tell me about it.
Okay, I won't. No spoilers, I promise. So
another one I want to see is Midnight Sun.
Midnight Sun, yeah. I have seen a lot of advertisements for it.
But you haven't seen it.
But I haven't seen it, no. Is it out yet?
Oh, yeah.
It's out? Okay. I'll have to go check that out. When I see it, I'll come and I'll ask you what you thought.
Another one I want to see is Sherlock Gnomeo.
Oh, yeah.
With Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp's in that, really?
He does the voice of Sherlock.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I didn't sound like him, did
it?
Yeah,
no, it doesn't.
Mary J. Blige is in it, too.
Oh, yeah, okay. I think I knew that. Have you seen the first one?
Yes.
Romeo and Juliet? I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Very good.
It's good? Okay. I'll have to go check that out. That's
you like
exciting.
Animated too, don't you?
Yeah, I really like animated movies. That's probably like one of my favorite ways of filmmaking. I love Shrek, yeah.
I saw all of them.
Yeah, I've seen all of them except for the last one. I haven't seen the last one.
Have you seen any of Ice Age?
I have seen all of Ice Age movies, yeah.
I have too.
Well, which one was your favorite?
Collision Course. Drift.
Yeah.
Granny Sloth was so funny.
So, what do you think is the best part of living in Austin?
The people.
The people. So, who do you know that lives here? Does your family live here?
Oh, yeah.
And do you have a lot of friends that live here?
Yes, I do.
That's really fun. And you have a lot of coworkers. Do most of your coworkers live here?
Yes.
And who do you work with?
Beth.
Ruth.
Chad Johnson.
Chad Johnson, okay.
He was there, sitting at the table.
And so you work here at Riverland, and you've worked here for how long?
19 years.
19 years.
18 years.
18 years.
Going on 19.
Going on 19. This Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And then at 20 years, what do you get?
A clock.
You get a clock. That's really cool. I wish I got stuff for my job, because I work at Taco John's, and I don't get celebrated for 5 years. But I'm just kidding. I love my job. So what is your favorite thing to do here in Austin?
Shop.
Shop. Where do you go shopping?
Yonkers. And I like to shop out of town, too.
Oh, out of town, like in Rochester? You said you went there for your birthday.
I went to TJ Maxx. That was
okay.
close to it. And then I went to Kohl's.
And Kohl's, yeah.
I got, like, gift cards to Kohl's. Like $50 one from Scott and Sherry. $25 one from Jean. And then $25 one. My mom lost her one that she on her phone.
No. Oh no!
She sent it to her phone, emailed it to her phone.
Yeah.
She lost it and she went to Verizon, and they got it back for her.
Okay,
So.
that's good. Yeah, I would be mad about losing $25. I'd be like, excuse you? Like
$25 doesn't seem like much, but
yeah, it's enough. Yeah.
Enough could go far at Kohl's.
Yeah, Kohl's is a lot of really good deals. I like Kohl's. Is there a Kohl's here in Austin?
No. I wish there was.
Yeah, I live in Mankato, so we got like a whole bunch of like big department stores.
Kohl's.
But yeah, you have the Yonkers here. Do you like the Yonkers here?
I love the Yonkers. They have good deals too.
Yeah, we have Herbergers in Mankato, so.
And that's part of Yonkers, that they own them.
Yeah, they own them together. So that was fun. I like shopping too. I like going to the movies and I like shopping, so we seem to have a lot in common.
Like going out to eat too. That's good too.
So thank you so much for coming. That's all for Austin Voices. Stick around for more On Cue.
You can watch On Cue anytime by visiting the KSMQ TV website, ksmq.org.
The historic R.D. Hubbard House was built in 1871 by local entrepreneur Rensselaer Dean Hubbard. Upon the completion of the house, R.D. Hubbard moved in with his wife, Mary Esther, and their infant son, Jay. The house included indoor plumbing with hot and cold running water, a luxury at the time. Following the death of his first wife, R.D. Hubbard married Frances Cook in 1878. The couple had 2 daughters, Catherine Dean in 1885 and Mary Esther in 1887. To accommodate the growing family, additional bedrooms and an expanded kitchen were added to the house in 1888. Electricity was also installed. The house was remodeled again in 1905. At this point, many of the features seen today were added to the house, including unique light fixtures such as the Tiffany chandelier in the dining room. Shortly before the renovations were completed, R.D. Hubbard passed away while on a business trip in Chicago. Frances Hubbard continued living in the house until her death in 1934. Daughter Mary Esther and her family moved into the house prior to Frances's death and remained until 1938, when the house was sold to the Blue Earth County Historical Society. The Society still operates this stately home, offering tours May through September. This story of the past was brought to you by the Blue Earth County Historical Society.
Time now to dive into the KSMQ Public Television archives. We find out why reptiles make great pets from an old episode of our show, Pet Connections.
Welcome to Pet Connections. I'm your host, Mike Schnell. Thank you for joining us to talk about how to take better care of the animals in our lives. With me today is Dr. Laura Toddy from Heritage Pet Hospital in Rochester, Minnesota, and her friends. Thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mike.
Well, why don't we get right into it and talk about the little guy that you have in your hands there.
Okay.
He is like an earthworm, basically, is what he looks like to me.
This is a little, it's a little corn snake, and he's an albino one, which is hard for you to see with my skin color, so I'll kind of put him against my sweater. He's 2 or 3 months old. He's tiny, but he's already eating. He's eating little crickets and little worms, things like that, but he will rapidly grow. He reminds me of one of my very first lizards that I've ever got. My mom actually bought our family a little rat snake, which is his closest brother. I mean, they're all the same genus. And she brought him home and he was like this. And we were like, oh my God, my mom and dad are letting us have a snake. So we took him home. We named him Adam, and he started, like I said, with little mealworms and started eating little pinky mice and growing and growing. And then he started eating bigger mice, and then we started saying, well, if we're feeding him all these big mice, then let's breed the mice. So then we started breeding the mice, and then we bred really cute mice, and we couldn't feed those ones to the snake, and so we ended up having a whole bunch of mice in our house as pets too. But actually, interestingly enough, Adam, he grew to be about 6 feet long, which is what this little guy will become to, 4 to 6 feet. So they're really a handleable size snake, and their head's about as big as my thumb. Really nice starter snake, and he lived to be 20 years old. I'm not kidding.
So he goes from being that size
to 6 feet long
to being 6 feet long.
Probably
That's pretty
about
amazing.
3 years, yeah, 4 years maybe, but then they kind of just get fatter. Yeah, I'm gonna put him away because he's getting kind of antsy, and I don't want him to get loose.
He's getting ready to run off.
He is
for sure.
really ready to run off.
So the big question is, you know, you obviously talked about how your parents brought a little rat snake home for you, but the big thing is, how do we select which reptile is right for us? How do we select which reptile is right for our family? Because there are a lot to choose from, including this tortoise here, who actually moved, which is very impressive, because normally he just kind of lays around and does nothing.
Yes,
but we put him kind of right in the middle there. But how do we select which one?
You've got a choice. I mean, you've got snakes, you've got turtles, aquatic turtles versus terrestrial turtles like Axis here, and then we have lizards, and we have all sorts of lizards in that respect. There are a lot of reptiles, I should say, who probably should not be pets. Some of the larger herbivorous, you know, like the iguanas, are very, very tough animals to find enough room for them to grow and to really let them thrive in this kind of, especially in this kind of climate up here in Minnesota. They're all tropical species. So what people need to find, do you just want a turtle that you can take out and play with? They're a very easy pet. The terrestrial ones are. You need basically an aquarium, a UV light, a regular basking light, a little hide box, you know, something like this they can hide under. You could take a Cool Whip container and cut a hole in it, but somewhere where they can get out of our probing eyes and feel comfortable. I don't think he needs that.
I'm going to put him in the high box because he's being so active. I want to slow him down a little bit here.
You might slow him down.
This is basically just a log cut in half, correct?
Right. Yeah, you can buy any of those kind of interesting, we call it furniture at the pet stores. But what kind of animal do you want? I mean, you need to really research the critter that you're interested in, or your kid's interested in. They see something that looks really cool. I'll tell you that there's something called the cool factor. The cooler they look, the more expensive they are, and the more expensive they are to house. I mean, you have to have special drip lights for chameleon, or drip things. They won't drink out of a bowl. You have to drip little dink, dink, dink all day long. They can only eat off of leaves. I mean, things like that. So you need to get online, look at what you're getting into, look at where is this species from. Can I provide a humid environment for him? If it's Minnesota. How am I going to keep his cage humidified in the winter? That sort of thing.
You know, we're talking a lot about environment right now, and that's probably the biggest one thing that a lot of people have troubles with. You said that when we were talking before the show, you were talking about how you have a lot of problems with skin and all that sort of stuff. So how do we set up the right environment for these guys, and where is a good place to go? Can we go to our regular vet and talk to them how to set up a good environment for our reptile?
Well, there's no, by no means am I a specialist. That requires extra board certification and things like that. But I did take extra courses in reptiles and herpetology when I was in veterinary school, and now I understand they do have even more for the new veterinary students, which is wonderful. But you can usually go online and find a veterinarian in your area. But if you're in a more rural place, you might have to drive a couple hours to find someone, and that's a great point to bring up. Don't buy a reptile if you're not willing to go the extra mile, so to speak, to take him to the vet if he gets sick. Now, also that being said, if you do everything right, God, I might not ever even see any of your reptiles, because there are some healthy, happy, thriving ones thanks to the internet and some of the newer texts and stuff. Boy, she's really going away.
You're going to go. You want to get off this pretty good. So let's talk about how we do things right, basically.
Okay.
How do we set up the environment properly for them to have things right? And she can just climb all over me.
All right. You don't mind.
No.
Well, let's start with terrestrial turtles. Once again, make sure you find out where they're at. This guy, he's called a Russian tortoise, or a four-toed tortoise. He's one of the only tortoises that has 4 toes, and he does. He's not really from Russia. He's from that area, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, Iran, that used to be under the Soviet Union control, but he experiences the worst in temperature changes. These guys can live at 30 degrees below zero, and they can live at 100 degrees in the desert. So they are the most adaptable to Minnesota climates of any other turtle you're going to find around here. It's amazing. They actually try to hibernate 9 months of the year. It's too hot in the summer and they burrow down. It's too cold in the winter and they burrow down. They come out about 3 months in the year, and that's when they're going to eat and eat and eat and breed if they're going to breed. And so that's why he's kind of a slug. He's just kind of coming out of his hibernation mode, so to speak.
Now, what about this this guy who's obviously very active, and I know she's a girl. She's really cool too. She's got this little hinge shell on bottom.
She's a box turtle, an eastern box turtle. These guys are found in the United States, and they go all the way along the east coast, down all the way to southwest Arizona or southwest U.S. And they live in forests. They can live in grasslands. I mean, they live all over the place. My brother lives in Pennsylvania and catches these in his backyard. It's just amazing. Yeah. She was brought to me by somebody who actually their kid was diagnosed with salmonella. I mean, many years ago. These guys are at least 10 years old each. I've had them a long time, and you know. So they blamed the turtle, and then they found out it wasn't this right species of salmonella. And later on, they told me that a year later, and I couldn't give her back. She's just, and they were fine with that. But anyway, it's a box turtle, and it's a girl because she kind of has a camouflage shell. The males are colorful, beautiful, orange and bright, kind of like her head and her skin.
And thanks for joining us today on Q. We'll see you next time.
On Cue is a production of KSMQ Television in Austin, nonprofit public television.